Ladies and gentlemen, they did it. The Golden State Warriors are officially the NBA champions of the 2022 season. Dubs and 6, like I predicted from the jump. I don't even like to be that guy, but a lot of people in this playoffs have been in my mentions talking about predictions I made for each series. And a lot of times on a podcast, one of us will make a bold-ass prediction just for the sake of conversation, and people just love to bring them up when you're wrong. So I'm going to rub this Dubs and 6 prediction that I had all over the place. Dubs and 6, incredible series. I'm watching the live reaction right now in the background. Steph Curry is the Finals MVP. That's no surprise. What I love about this celebration the most, though, is how happy everybody is for each other. You know what I mean? You see when Steph Curry was awarded the Finals MVP, everybody, all his teammates on the stage kept chanting MVP. Not that Steph Curry needed this to solidify anything, but it definitely feels good to see him get it, just because it was like a distraction, or like this little monkey on his back that people kept trying to bring up. Now, any of the real Curry haters, because let's be honest, if you were trying to discredit Curry in any form or fashion, and you were using the Finals MVP thing to discredit him, you were a major hater. So now all of the haters that was trying to use that, what do you even have now? He's won with Durant. He's won 2 without Durant. He didn't have the Finals MVP with the first year. Iggy got it. Now he has the Finals MVP. He showed his ass in majority of these games, damn near unguardable against one of the best defenses we've seen in a playoff run in a very long time. Very, very happy for them. Everybody's happy for Klay Thompson, all the injuries and everything he overcame. You see Steve Kerr, even when he had his talking points and his chance to speak, he even brought up Bob Myers, who put the team together. And that's one thing I do love about the Warriors organization and their team. Everybody's so selfless, thinking about the next man and just happy for each other. And I think that's why they've been a team that's been in this position to be a dynasty, because that's really what it comes with. You have to be able to make sacrifices, and you have to go out there and battle for the guy beside you. And I think they embody that to one of the greatest strengths that we've seen over the last decade or so. As far as this game goes, though, this game 6 was definitely super entertaining from the jump. And I got all my notes down. I love to show you. I write notes all over the place for every single quarter, for every single game of this finals. Out of the gate, 14-2 start for the Celtics. The Warriors just could not get a shot to fall. They had 3 early turnovers, 2 quick fouls for Klay, 2 fouls for Looney. First 6 shots, they were 1 of 6. And then on the flip side, Boston was 5 of 7 on their first 7 attempts. 14 fouls in the first 6 minutes of the game for the Warriors. So it was definitely a tough start for them. But then quickly at the end of that first, transitioning into the second quarter, they go on a crazy run. The Warriors go on a very, very crazy run. 21 straight points between the end of the first and then the second quarter, and that's when you felt the entire shift of the game going to the Warriors' favor, and it really looked like that it was extremely over. Like, it was at a point where I was in a party with the homies watching the game, and I was like, man, I might as well stop taking notes. There might not be a reason for me to take any notes anymore in this game, because the Warriors right now are doing everything. They were causing the turnovers, and they were playing extremely fast. And y'all know from the videos that I've done in this final series, I've talked about the points of emphasis needing to be on playing with pace if you're Golden State. The better you can get opportunities against the Celtic defense that isn't set, the more opportunities you'll have to score. You know what I mean? The Boston Celtics have been a historic defense and one of the best defenses all playoffs. And anytime you can get them not set and on their P's and Q's, you have a higher chance of having a successful basket or a successful offensive trip. So I love to see that they did that this game. Draymond was pushing the rock. Jordan Poole was pushing the rock. Finally, it felt like in the first handful of games, he just was not pushing the pace for whatever reason. Everybody played with a sense of urgency whenever there was an opportunity to play in transition. Rebounds, stops, steals, pushing the ball. I even seen a play where Klay told Steph, just come on, I'm pushing it. Let's rock. And I love that part of this game for the Golden State Warriors, doing that 21 straight run. And during that, Jordan Poole came out of the gate, and I think that was a big thing for the Golden State Warriors. They needed Jordan Poole to have one of those impactful games in Boston. We saw him do it in Golden State. We know it's easier in Golden State. Role players play better at home, always. But to have him, kind of implicate that into this game was super, super big. He came out of the gate 3 straight shots, 3 for 3. What was it, 8 points, I think 2 threes, and then he just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. I love the aggression that Draymond came out and played with, especially in that second quarter, started to find guys, hit a 3, hit another one later in the game. To see Draymond, whoever took the over on Draymond Green is cashed out tonight for all my betting people, because Draymond, he came into this game, at one point he missed his first 3. And they were saying that 3 made him 0 of 12 from 3 the entire finals series. And then the next thing you know, he hits his next 2, and he's making it rain from 3. The 21 straight points is also the longest run in a quarter, or the longest run in the last 50 finals, which is crazy to think. We have a lot of those type of stats. The Celtics, what they call 2 quick timeouts. That's when you knew it was kind of strange. The first 50 seconds of the second quarter, they called a timeout. Then like another 2 minutes after that, they had to call another timeout. Eventually, they start getting their shit together, and then boom, they fight back with a quick 7-0 run. And that's when it was like, okay, the Warriors still have a decent enough lead, but the Celtics aren't just going to roll over. And that, for me, as an NBA fan, that's exactly what you want to see. And then boom, after that 7-0 run, the Warriors go on another 12-2 run, and they increase the lead back up to 18. And at this point, the Celtics have 11 turnovers in the first half, which I believe they said was the most in a half in finals history. It's either the most or the tie for the most in a half in finals history. And 54-39 is how we end the second quarter. 52-25 run to end the first half for the Golden State Warriors. So they end that first quarter, and then they take that momentum into the second quarter to have a 52-25 run. Both of the numbers flip. 52-25. Crazy. Then we start the third quarter. I was very curious to see how the Celtics would respond after that type of half, because they're a very young team. As far as finals experience, don't think anybody on that roster has real finals experience. Marcus Smart never been. Derek White never been. Al Horford never been. Robert Williams never been. Yeah, so there's no finals experience from anybody on that roster or anybody that's in the rotation. And then they start the third quarter with Draymond hitting his second 3. Wiggins had got an offensive rebound. At that point, the Golden State Warriors had 10 offensive rebounds. And I'm just pointing out big plays. A play like the Wiggins offensive rebound is not a standout play or anything like that, but it just shows how much of a force the Golden State Warriors have been on that glass, especially the offensive side of the basketball. And because the Warriors are such a dynamic offensive group, and because that system is so intricate, giving them second and third opportunities on the offensive end is, again, just a dangerous game to play. That's just not a team that you want to give second and third opportunities to. And I'm so impressed by how they continue to be dominant on the offensive glass, when all of us have recognized that the Warriors' weakness, if you had to find one, was the lack of size in the front court. Kevon Looney is 6'9". Draymond is 6'6". They're very small in the front court compared to a lot of their counterparts, but they still find a way to be effective on the offensive glass. And a part of that is the spacing on the floor and the intricacies. So if you have Draymond pulling the big away from the rim, he's no longer there. And if you have so much attention going to the shooters, Steph and Clay, and guys trying to quote-unquote play the gap on Wiggins, that gives Wiggins a direct line to then crash the offensive glass. And a lot of times he's finding the Celtics and other teams vulnerable in that position because nobody's there to quickly enough box him out, because they're not crowding him or playing him that close off the ball like they do a Steph or Clay. You're not taking away Wiggins' breathing space off the ball, so that way he has all of these routes and avenues to go and tip the ball out. And you know, his athleticism has always been top tier, 5-star since he was a high school player. So I love the fact that he took that role on himself all playoffs, and I believe he's still the leader of the playoffs for most offensive rebounds. And that's why people have fallen in love with Andrew Wiggins during this run, and specifically in his final series, because he literally has been Mr. What you need for the Golden State Warriors. Guarding the best player, offensive rebounds, making timely shots, step back shots, catch and shoot threes, coast to coast, and one finishes. Andrew Wiggins is Mr. What you need. So boom, 19-point lead for the Warriors. Just the system is just at that point. I wrote down offensive system too much because you're seeing guys run around. Draymond has the ball. He's faking handoff, dropping it for Curry while he's setting the screen on Marcus Smart. He's catching it. Curry's wide open. Nobody's around. The Celtics are discombobulated. The Warriors are doing they dancing and going into the timeout with all this emotion. They can damn near taste the champagne. And that's the part that, you know, for media and fans, if you pay attention to the details, that's what really just kills a team over and over the course of a game. It's like, once you make a run or once you think you have a stop, Curry is open for a split second. Or even if he's not as open as you thought, he makes you pay. And it's just constant and constant and constant. And I saw a little bit of that in this game where you'll see the Celtics feel like they did enough or hope that they did enough. And those threes that Curry would hit would just suck the life and the momentum out of not only the crowd, but the flow of the team on the floor. And then at that point, the Warriors are 14 of 28 from the three-point line, which is, again, that's just not a number or a statistic you want to hear if you're the Boston Celtics. You just pray that the Warriors don't wake up and just feel like shooting 50% plus from the three-point line, especially coming off a game where they shot 22% from three. And that's why last game was such an emphasis on, man, if the Warriors can beat you with Steph not making any threes, nobody else picking up the slack from the perimeter, they only shot 22%, 7 of 49 from three, and they still won, what's going to happen when they make them? Because you can't expect the Warriors to have two games like that back-to-back. You are a fool if you thought Curry was going to have a duplicate game like that in this Game 6. That's just too much to ask or too much to hope for in a game that has this much stakes in it. And then out of nowhere, Al Horford decides that he's just not going to allow the Celtics to roll over and lose like this. Al Horford, he starts to make shots. He quickly has 9 third-quarter points. He's making threes, mid-range shot. I seen him. He hit a big-time three. Then on the next possession, he got a block on Jordan Poole that went into the crowd. And now the Boston Celtics are starting to feel themselves. Jaylen Brown get into the mix. And then the Celtics go on a 12-2 run. And then Wiggins has a turnover. They try to give Jason Tatum a look. Draymond Green makes an incredible play, goes over the double. He gets a deflection, which causes another turnover for the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum, I think, is the first player in NBA history to have 100 turnovers throughout the stretch of like a playoff run or anything like that, which is the most all-time. Jason Tatum has definitely had like this very up and down, great but weird, like, playoff run that's been all over the place. Another and one for Al Horford at that point. He makes the free throw. It's a 9-point game for the Celtics. A lot of things are just happening fast. The Warriors going to run. Celtics going to run. Warriors going another little run to make the lead go back up. Then boom, another run here. Al Horford and one. Jaylen Brown 3. Another, just super back and forth. 15-2 run for the Celtics. And then we got a block on Poole. Jaylen Brown had missed another free throw that I felt was a big one. 16-4 run for the Celtics to close the third, and we have some life. It's a 10-point game. It's like, oh, shit, are they going to come back? The game is not over like everybody thought. And then, yeah, it just goes into the Celtics trying to fight but just running out a bit of juice. Jason Tatum in that fourth quarter only scored 2 points. He had 2 points in the entire second half compared to 11 points he had in the first half. Jaylen Brown tried to make a lot of plays at the end of the game, a lot of big-time shots, but I felt like they didn't get much from Jason Tatum. Marcus Smart played timid on the offensive side of the basketball, which is so unfortunate, right? Because all of these games before this and before this moment, you have Marcus Smart chucking threes, and even in the beginning of this game, I was loving the way that he was playing. And I even tweeted when he came out of the gate with like a 14-2 lead, I love a Marcus Smart that isn't just chucking shots, is a dangerous player because he has the ability to knock down a shot. He's come a long way from when he first entered the league. And though he's not the most traditional point guard, he does have the ability to make plays because naturally he is a point guard. That's what he was in high school, how he climbed up the ranks as a McDonald All-American and went to Oklahoma State. He is a point guard. He's just not the most traditional. But He has everything in the making of what Boston wants in their offense, which is the ability to knock down perimeter shots, and he hits big shots. You have to give Marcus Smart his credit. He's hit a lot of tough big shots for them in this playoff run and in this series. But when he's not just so thirsty to chuck it, and he puts pressure on the defense by dribble drive, penetration, using his strength to get floaters and post looks and easy buckets around the rim on a smaller Steph Curry. Now, when he drives from the perimeter, the defense has to collapse. You have dribble drive kicks, look for Al Horford, looks for Jaylen Brown, looks for Jason Tatum. The defense has to commit to Tatum and Brown. Now you got Draymond recovering and closing out. Now the defense just constantly rotating, you're making them work. But if Marcus Smart is just chucking and taking shots that he can get at any time in the shot clock, and he's just missing long, and the Warriors are just going in transition over and over and over and over and over and over, it's just a dangerous game to play. And tonight, he had a stretch in the first where he was making those reads, extra passes and things like that, and everything was rolling good. But when the Warriors fought back, Marcus Smart was neither that or was he not chucking. He was just kind of out there and timid. And I feel like because of who Marcus Smart is as a basketball player, the worst version that we could get from Marcus Smart is a timid Marcus Smart. He either has to be playing smart or he has to be over-aggressive. Smart, no pun intended. But I'd rather an over-aggressive Marcus Smart who's chucking than a Marcus Smart who's not doing anything and playing extremely timid and second-guessing every decision he's making, especially when he's making some of the foolish fouls that he made in certain stretches of his game. I don't like some of the fouls that some of these guys be making. Mark Jackson pointed out too, or Jeff Van Gundy. Jason Tatum takes too many take fouls to stop a transition look for him to be as valuable as a player as he is. I know he didn't have the greatest games. It's probably one of his worst games in this final series. But for a guy that's so important, those take fouls just like add up. You know what I mean? You get one really quick, and then you get a real foul and a half-court defensive set, and now you have two quick. So never a fan of that as well. I agree with Van Gundy on that. That was just foolish. And then down the stretch, I mean, Steph Curry played like the MVP. He made shots. The Warriors just made shots. Draymond Green was full of energy, pushing the tempo. Wiggins hit a three in the corner, hit another three in the corner. Kevon Looney was getting offensive boards. You just cannot keep that guy off the offensive board. And that was it down the stretch. It was just too little, too late, too much. And the Warriors looked like the experienced, better team, and that they came into this game knowing we are not going back to Golden State. This is our chance to win it now. Do not give this Boston Celtics team any hope. And on top of that, the Celtics didn't do themselves any favors with 22 turnovers. Right? Absolutely horrible. 5 bench points. Absolutely horrible. And I'm just circling things as I say them. Jason Tatum, 13 points. Absolutely horrible. 2 second-half points. Unacceptable. Your guy has to play at a high level. He has to play at a finals MVP level in a game with this much importance. There is no excuse for 13 points and 2 points in the second half for Jason Tatum. Not on this stage, not in this moment, not against that team. Not when Curry is coming out and giving you 34, 7, and 7. Not when Draymond Green is giving you 12, 12, and 8, 2 steals and 2 blocks. Not when Jordan Poole decides to give you 15 points and almost all of them came in 4 minutes. You know, not when the Warriors are giving you 21 bench points. They took their bench points and times it almost by 4. They had almost 4 times the points they had. They did, I mean, almost 5 times the points they had. Or what? They had 5. The Warriors. So yeah, you almost have 4 times the points they had. 4 times 5 is 20 points. They had 21 to their 5. Ridiculous. Then the Warriors give you 15 turnovers, but you can't take advantage because you give them 22. 15 turnovers is a lot of turnovers. It's a lot. But it doesn't matter if you're going to give it back to them 22 times. And the Warriors only got to the line 8 times, so Celtic fans can't say the referees were terrible. And Curry just came out and played like a finals MVP, man. 15 offensive rebounds for them, 13 steals, 7 blocks as a team for the Golden State Warriors. Only 11 offensive rebounds for the Celtics. That's not I don't mean to say only 11 offensive rebounds is definitely pretty good. But again, not when you're giving up 15. 8 steals, 8 blocks. 5 of the blocks came from Robert Williams. doing his thing. And 42 from the field, 39 from the 3-point line, and 91% from the free throw line, with the only miss being Jaylen Brown. Very low free throw shooting game for both teams. That's pretty much it, man. Jason Tatum, like I said, most turnovers. I still don't think any differently from Jason Tatum. I believe he's still a very good player. But this is why we definitely have to take our time with anointing players in certain levels and tiers. You know, very quickly, guys, better than Tatum. I mean, Tatum is better than Kawhi, and just different things like that. And the recency bias, I know, can get a little crazy. But we got to start letting guys earn who they are, right? And consistency and doing it over and over and time again is what makes guys elite. Not being the new guy who's doing it for the first time. And that's why we have to let things play out and let guys earn the titles that we give out from the media and the fans and whatever. Like I said, I think Tatum is still a very, very good player. Still a top tier player. Nothing slight about the year for Boston. They did make the NBA Finals led by him. And I think he had very good growth in certain departments in areas of his game, like the playmaking, but the turnovers have to slow down. I think the shot selection has to be better. And I think him and Jaylen Brown showed that they can coexist, but they have to take it to another step for the playoffs to find out how to coexist together. Because we have Jaylen Brown giving you 34, but we have Tatum giving you 13. And it felt like the games Tatum really took over in during this playoff run, Jaylen Brown disappeared in. And very, very rarely did we just get two nice, consistent games for them that were meaningful. I'm not saying just getting 24 points. I mean 24 points, you know, and impactful to help you win. And I feel like those games where we got them two doing anything, and then Marcus Smart was also there as their underlying support, they were the most hardest team to beat. And on certain nights, you have Al Horford pouring in shit and Robert Williams giving what you give him. And we know what y'all can do defensively. There's another step for the entire Celtics team to take. And I can't wait to see if they're going to take it next year, if they're going to take a step back, if they're going to make a move. Very interesting year, but I still think they need to have credit. Ime Udoka, first-time coach, turning his team up, going to the finals. But the Warriors are champions, and that's why I picked them in 6th. Championship DNA. They done it again. They did it without Kevin Durant. Draymond, enjoy your flowers, my guy. That's it for me. Incredible year. Now we on to the draft in the offseason. And y'all will be seeing more of me in that direction. Incredible year. I'm signing off for the 2022 NBA season. PB the Plug, NBA Weekly. I'm out. Peace.